everyone. You're watching Main Character Energy with Kai and Anj. And today we are going to talk about the worst dates.
I think we all have a lot of stories about this. So we actually asked some of our friends also. But I think we have our own personal stories, obviously. And as this says, bad choices make great stories. So even if a date goes badly, you should always think of it as plot. Like, you know, your life's plot. It's enriching your life's plot.
Or it gives you at least something to talk about. So we've made it into books, haven't we?
Yeah, I always use, I've always used bad dates as material. And even my friends' stories. So please, people who are sharing stories, realize that I might use it as material. But tell me about your worst date ever.
Oh gosh, there's so many,
Anjali.
There's so many. I've lost count. But there are few things that come to mind, like when you say the top of the head. Once was like, I remember going out with somebody and he was like, I think he was an editor of a very famous magazine newspaper. And in the conversation, he was trying to impress me, obviously get me to, but I was like, oh, and whatever. And I really liked him. And then he said, this is all cellulite.
Oh my gosh, he fat shamed you. How dare he?
In a way, I mean, it was like, and that was like, I'm like, dude, this is the worst way to ever get anyone to like you or to get them wherever you want to get them in any position. It doesn't work at all, especially for someone like me. So I immediately kicked him out from where I was, and I want to tell you where I was.
I'm so happy to hear that because so many women they let guys like actually affect your insecurities, right? When someone tells you like that, so many women would then just be like, oh my god, I should lose some weight, I should whatever. But I love that you like stood your ground.
I always do. I hardly have people like that because they know my personality. Any man is absolutely stupid, foolish and delusional to think that they can get away with saying anything about me and my physical appearance.
You must.
Like I would walk over them, roll over them, kick them out, probably like shame them back because I'm very aggressive in that respect.
Correct. No, because I remember reading this thing that said that, as a guy, if you like thin, fit girls, then just go for those girls. Don't go for someone who's bigger and then make that person person feel bad and insecure. So that's very, I agree, that's a bad date for sure. When I'm thinking about my single days back in my youth, and I don't think
You're still in your youth.
Sure, thanks. But back in the day, I know one guy, I wouldn't say it was the worst, but he was very nervous. So in a way in my head it was like, oh, like I'm making you nervous. But actually, but he was like so nervous, he was playing with the straw cup, that thing that comes out. And then he was doing something that went in my coffee. And then he got so awkward. And then he was just like, oh. And overall, obviously, I didn't then go on a date with him again. But I kind of thought.
Why, I mean, it's just that he must be nervous looking at you. That's a compliment.
But there were other things also. Actually, I realized there's no spark.
It's not only about your straw that came inside.
That was just something. But so that was a funny-ish, I guess, in my head. In terms of other ones, I was reading one story where someone said that, she was asking this guy for a, what does he do? And he just got very offended and he was like, oh, you're such a gold digger. All you women just want to know. So I was like, that's really weird. But it reminded me that once back when I was back in the day, there was this guy who was very, very cryptic about what he does. Like every time I'd be like, so, but what do you do? He just didn't want to answer. So now that I think about it, I think he was unemployed. And he just didn't, probably. But I was like, just own up.
Or maybe he was like from under the ground or something.
Oh God, so much I don't think life is like filmy, but not that filmy. But in general, this guy's lady's story was that the guy got offended and he was like, oh, why do you want to know? But that's a very normal question you ask someone. So clearly that's a red flag if the guy is not telling you clearly what he does for work and he's trying to hide it and be,
Also, ones who run away from situations, that for me is a red flag actually. Talking about red flags, I remember this incident where there was a guy, we had this, we went out partying, my friends and me, and then we got these 3 people home, and just for continuing the party at home, and my friends thought I know them, and I was like, no, we just met them, and now they're home, and
my new friend.
So we're standing on the balcony of my old building, and we were having a drink each, and bottles were there, and we were chatting, and one of the bottles he dropped while talking or whatever, and he said, okay, I'm going home, and he ran.
Because
the bottle dropped and it went into someone's car and it broke his windscreen.
Oh damn! And so he didn't want to take accountability. He was just like,
he's like, yeah, you have my number. I'm like, no, where's your number? So my friends were like, you must be having his number, call him and tell him. I said, no, I don't have his number. He said, isn't he your friend? Did he bring these people home? I said, no, I don't know who they were. Like, you brought strangers home. Are you crazy?
That's what you get.
That's what you get. So I paid,
random
of course I paid him.
people.
And that uncle came up and he was so angry. It was 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I blamed my brother. I said, my brother did that. He said, don't lie. It's you and your horrible friends who do this every night in the coffee.
But that is a bad.
Yeah.
Not even a date, but
Yeah, it was like
crazy.
he would have gone into some kind of date, but before the date started, I think he just like, he ran off, and of course, good he went off, because I don't know what I would do with these 3 random people in the house.
Yeah. So I know, one of the dates I had, I remember the guy was late, and not late by like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 40 minutes. And when he came in also, and then I really shouldn't have waited. I should have gone. I don't know why I waited also. I was just like, because I was like, how can he be so late?
Yeah.
And then he came and he was just like, oh yeah, I was dealing with some work thing. So he didn't even seem very apologetic.
Yeah.
So one is that you mess up and then you kind of, own up and you say, sorry, I'm running late, whatever.
Yeah.
This was crazy because it just shows you the person doesn't respect your time, doesn't care.
Of course.
And it obviously leaves a bad impression. But by then, because I'd waited so much, I was like, now I'll order an expensive item.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. An expensive dish and a drink, and then I never saw that person again. Yeah, he paid.
Yeah, because this is some people forget their wallets all the time.
That's the other thing. But this is one thing which people are kind of 50-50, on whether the guy should pay, because everyone's like, now you're an independent woman, do you need the guy to pay? But I do think the overall thing is whoever asks the person out on a date should pay. So if the guy is the one who's saying let's meet, then he should pay.
Yeah, but what are the ones who don't carry a wallet and say I forgot?
GPay.
I have it all the time. No, now it's GPay.
Yeah, back in the day.
Sometimes we don't have GPay, and they're like, what, I don't have, and so many times the GPay is not working, and all sorts of things. Because when you want to get out of paying, you'll do anything, right? I know a friend of mine, the date just went off. He said, I'm just getting my car keys, I'll get the valet ready, and I'm coming back to pay. And the idiot, she waited for the valet. There was no valet, there was no car, obviously, just went off. And she ended up with like a 5K bill. In fact, in my book, I've written quite a few bad dates. Where, the guy Rahul in the book, his name is Rahul.
Was it based on a true story?
Yeah, my book. Again, a book is non-fiction. Why do people think I'm fiction?
I thought you're trying to get away with stuff so that it's a mix of fiction and non-fiction.
No, it was true. And this guy was, he was like, it was a 10,000 bill in those days. And we ordered like the best food. And then he's like, I forgot my wallet. Will you pay? And then after that, he treated me so nicely. He took me on these lovely drives and best of cars. And later on, I realized that he was not the son of the person he was talking about, because sometimes there was no like social media to see. He was actually just the manager working there.
Oh, okay. So he lied to you about like
everything. And I like a fool just went along.
Oh, like wow,
like cute guy. Yeah.
Of course. No, but I asked around. So I asked some people, and a lot of this is common for a lot of guys, where the women just use them to kind of drink and have fun. So this one guy wrote that there was this girl we decided to meet, and she ordered a lot of drinks and all that, but she also became very mawali after drinking, he's saying. So she threw a fork on the waiter, and he was obviously very embarrassed, and then she just basically took on this very different persona after drinking. She was abusing like a total chapri, and like he was still like, okay, let's see. So once you invested that time, you still want to give the person the benefit of the doubt. But then he's like, once we went out, she kicked a dog also, and she kind of said earlier that I love animals. So basically it was all fake, and after that clearly he never met her. But this is very common with a lot
terrible.
And another guy was like, this girl came on the date. Can you imagine? She brought 4 friends. So she showed up with 4 of her friends, and she said, and she's telling the friends, don't worry, Mr. Moneybags will pay. And he was apparently supposed to be Moneybags, and they ordered lots of food and drinks. So he also said, I'm going to the washroom, and he never came back. Because here she is messed. Now how can you go with 4 people on a date and like say pay for my friends?
You can't, but now I think I would take you on a date. My next date. So if I have
take me on a
yeah, so I had someone I was dating who was a billionaire, and I always told my friends, now this is coming, that is coming, all your stuff. Nothing ever came. In fact, I ended up paying for him again.
What? If he was a billionaire, why did you pay for him?
He was really a billionaire.
Was he really a billionaire? Or
he was really a billionaire.
The Tinder swindler type billionaire?
No. I checked his whole profile.
So why did you pay if he was the billionaire?
I'm just
you like to pretend in your head you're a billionaire. You're like, "Arey, tum ho gaya Ambani apne ghar mein."
Yeah, I just don't know what. So pay as in I would get the gifts. This was like only a couple of months, but I would give the gifts. I would take, like everything.
Okay.
I like spoiling people, right? But then of course I overdo it.
But he never got you gifts. Or
no,
like,
but he did say he's buying me an aircraft. I can leave my job and say, baby, you don't have to fly
oh
anymore.
wow, listen,
I'll get your own
you
aircraft.
believe it when you see it. He said he will do. Did he do it? Do you have
I
an
didn't even
aircraft?
get a small.
He didn't even give you a toy plane.
Not even.
No, that's on you. You should have.
I really waited, and he said, like, baby, it's a vacation. So he said, I'm booking a vacation. So I booked my ticket. Never saw the vacation.
I don't know why you're saying the other guy. I think this is the worst, actually. No, but yeah, so I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on this, right? So
Yeah.
some people are like, no, the men should always pay.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think when you're, especially once you start getting, like, say you've gone on first date, I think the guy should pay, ideally, especially if he's asked you out. Then after that, you can kind of go half-see, split.
Yeah.
The woman pays sometimes. It should be very organic that way. I don't think that the man should always pay.
In a relationship, I think you can do half.
Of course, it's only fair.
But it's only dating. First few dates, I think a man should just pick up the tab
Maybe
if he really
first
wants
few
the
dates.
woman.
Yeah.
But see, they're very smart. They are like, you know what, you're all into feminism, right? So,
They
what?
use that for their
They
benefit.
say, you'll get upset if I offered. No, I won't get
No,
upset.
not at all.
Will you at least offer?
I think the first, and then I remember reading this thing which said the real provider men, they have absolutely no problem paying for women. It's not in their head. It's like, obviously I'll take care of it. So it's only the ones who are kind of not serious about you. And I think that's also an indication when a man is really into a woman, he will pay for stuff because he wants to impress you, no?
That is
so
true.
initially, especially initially, he will kind of make that effort and pay and all of that. And it's only, but speaking about these like ones, I remember once I got on this date with this guy, and I think he was also pretty well off, but we went it was just ice cream, and he asked me and for the date, and then he was like, so let's split the bill. And I remember in my head thinking like, what the hell,
crazy?
Ice cream ke liye, matlab,
yeah, you never met him again, I hope.
No, I didn't.
Throw the ice cream on him.
But
horrible.
I think it leaves a bad impression of the woman also.
Of course it does. And even when you're in a relationship, you still date, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about first dates, but then you do a date. So I remember this guy, he gave me a gift. It was my birthday, and it was someone I was planning like a kind of a future. He was wanting a future, and he got this. I was in fact talking this to my relatives the other day, and this is fresh in my memory. He got a box, okay, and it was beautiful. It was dark, the ocean, and all like romantic, and he was very serious, and he gave me a box. And I, of course, I've always had this vision. I get a diamond ring from a man. It's always been in my head.
Sure.
So it's the idea of love more than, of course, the person and tolerating the person. So the box, and he opened it was a pendant and not a ring.
Okay.
And for me, it was diamond though. But for me, that was like a date that, I mean, I don't call it a date because I was already with the person. But how can you even think about, like, in my mind, I was like, you cannot give a box to a person romantic and a pendant. I want a ring.
No, but I don't think that's so bad. I think at least there was jewelry in it. Imagine if it was inside the box, it was like one stupid sweet or something.
I should have sold or something. I threw it away. I think I don't know where I kept it away. I don't know. I know. Sorry, I should have met you and given it to you. Actually.
No, but actually, speaking about there's worst dates and then there's best dates also. But not best, but I do remember one guy, it was very sweet, where, we had just been talking because he lived outside India. And then when he came to meet me, because I had mentioned one story of something about my childhood where I didn't get this Barbie doll that I wanted, he actually gave me a doll, and I thought that was sweet because it just shows that he was listening.
Oh, that's so Hollywood.
It's sweet, right? It's a sweet gesture.
Yeah, it's kind of
like
sweet.
I think these thoughtful gifts
What
are
happened
sweet.
to him again?
No, I friends
The Barbie doll didn't work
it
for
didn't
you.
cut it.
He didn't cut the mark.
No, he was a very nice guy, but I think I was like, oh, I'm not feeling the spark or whatever.
After that Barbie, he gave you back the Barbie.
No, I kept the Barbie. It was sweet, yeah.
At least give back that Barbie. At
You
least he'll have Barbie
you
with
didn't
him.
give back the expensive pendant. I should give back one random Barbie, which was
but that would be like, like his memory of you.
No, but I think it just that when someone gives you gifts that are handmade or that show that you like, they listen to something you said, those mean much more, I think, than anything that can just be bought, or picked up or whatever.
Like I have a friend who has like this talking about dates. This person started quoting poetry on the first date. Went on and on and on about the poetry.
It can be sweet if it's like one poem or one short thing.
The whole date.
And then he
went on with poetry.
So he thought it's an open mic.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Open mic. Oh, let me perform.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of guys like that. I think that's also bad when they're not there to listen. They're there to talk about themselves.
That's what,
and on.
Nobody asks questions. Yeah. They only want to talk about themselves. But maybe again, let's give benefit. Men are not trained. Yeah. Our guys are not trained.
And also once I read, it's actually a sign they're trying to impress you, no?
Yeah,
so that's why they're telling you so much about
they feel
themselves.
I'll ask about her, she might be awkward. So I'll informate, then she'll tell me whatever.
So maybe we shouldn't be so hard on them. But I guess if someone keeps quoting poetry throughout the day, that can be annoying for sure.
But I've heard people who are now on these online chats like Tinder and what else. The dates are horrendous.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are paying. Paying is this one part of the issue. Like, they just come in and it's like they're actually chatting with somebody else while they're on the date.
They're
and
not
making
even
a plan
present,
for the next hour and the next hour,
Yeah.
So I think that is so shameful.
I know we've spoken about online dating and what comes with
have,
it, but I think honestly, as much as the world changes, years go by, some things stay the same. For a good date, I think basics, right? Like you have to kind of give the woman attention, ask her questions, listen also, and I think pay. I mean, it's the bare minimum you can do, right?
No matter how many men are watching this, so they don't like to hear that.
At least first date you pay,
and
then you kind of see where it goes.
What about
beyond
the picking and dropping? This is something that irritates me.
No, picking and dropping is okay.
No, now we have Uber. There were times when we were expected to go home on your own, and that was really
a chivalrous like especially if someone has a car and they're not even offering to drop you. That's also weird.
Like I so many times I stay on the other end of town. I said, but you made it this far, or they expect you to come to them. That's another red flag in anyone. Like I stay in town, you stay in the suburbs. Can you come here for dinner or lunch? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, either you send me the car and I'll come if it's so inconvenient working. Or you don't expect me to come and then again come back on my own, right?
Correct.
I mean, that is so terrible. So that means I think so these are first things you need to pick up in anyone. I think we're very stupid because we think that, later on. From the moment a person expects these things, I think it's time to, cut them off completely.
And I remember there's one more thing that I read where this woman said that they had planned to meet somewhere. Then the guy messages her on the day. So she's made that effort and gotten dressed and all. And then he's telling her, you know what? It's been an expensive month, so can you come home and I'll cook for you, but like let's not go out. And now the woman has made that effort to get dressed up. Like that's a bit, I mean, it's okay if you pre-decided that we'll do a date where you're coming home,
or the person well enough.
Generally for a first date, no one wants to go also to a guy's house. You don't know what awaits, right? Like so I now remember one more story that because I was asking people for their first date story. So this person told me this is quite scary also. So this woman met this guy and he said my wife is no more, which is okay, but then he showed her the death certificate and said, I want to show you the death certificate so you know that it was a suicide, and so that like she knows that it's not him. And then he's telling her, so next date let's make plans and you come home. And she was like, dude, he seemed like a murderer to me because he's like literally carrying proof that it was a suicide. So a lot of weirdos out there, I think, and thankfully I have not had such bad dates, but when I talk to people I'm like, oh man, like
the worst ones are saying that no, we are now not living with my wife, but they've actually just left for the night or 2 nights.
Oh god,
like you're getting divorced. Or those are also people divorced. He's actually not divorced because the legal document hasn't come through. And then the girl who's just waiting and you know what, but it's not come through. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I've had quite a few people who've told me that he said it's going to happen another month, another 2 months. Never happens. It takes years to come. And we all know that things like divorce now doesn't come like overnight.
Correct. So be smart, I think, generally when you're picking people.
And of course.
Another thing, I remember reading this thing where this woman said that she went on a date with a guy and he kept getting messages and calls and he kept like trying to say, no, it's just work, it's just whatever. Finally, a woman showed up with 3 kids, those were his kids, and she was just like, why are you answering my calls? Shit. So can you imagine? I don't know.
She came with 3 kids.
She came to the restaurant, she found out where he was and she showed up. Location. But I mean, I think for that woman, it's a good thing that you came to know, right? Before getting deeply involved.
So for the wife, not so much.
Obviously to see the guy on the date. So I think there's a lot of rubbish that happens. But you know what? We would actually want to hear from all of you guys. Please share your terrible date stories with us.
What are your bad date? I've got so many. I think we'll have like 3 episodes for it.
We can continue.
But it's all there in my book and it's in your book in some way as well. So for the fun stuff, you all can obviously get to our books and read. But please tell us about your dates.
We would love to hear about your bad dates.
And what happened exactly? What did you do? What did he do? Or what did she do? Because not only the men are obviously having bad dates.
Men are also having. So it's not like we're just doing like male bashing, because I think men also have terrible experiences
now
with women.
It's true. Women go and want to see like how much can you afford. It is true. They don't. It's not gold digging. They'll always ask. Okay, so in our way, it's not gold digging because we want to know that we are going out with somebody who is worth going out. But for the man, it's quite demeaning, where they feel like they are judged only on how much they can pay, right? I mean, of course, good looks is one thing, but then of course it's important. So both ways, I think it's both ways that we need to kind of can give grace to both of them.
We can give grace to the men also, of course. But in general,
we love men. And how?
But so please do share your terrible stories with us. us, and we promise we won't include them in our books, but we might. Wink, wink. But yeah, do share your stories with us.
And you're watching Main Character Energy with Sky and Anj. And please keep following us, subscribe, like, and I hope you're enjoying our reels. And we've done a lovely section with Men We Adore. So, of course, we have to tell them that if you're not watching Men We Adore, you are really, truly missing out on something fabulous. Celebrities, actors, travel experts, sportsmen, we have them all on our couch.
Because clearly we adore a lot of men from different industries.
We love. Totally. Men are meant to be adored.
Yes. So keep watching and bye.